In this Jeep, there is a soldier of the North Korean military who is trying to cross the border quickly after being annoyed by Kim Jong-un policies. He knows very well that either he will be killed or at least injured. So what made him take such a big step? We will tell you about this later. But why is North Korea considered to be the largest prison in the world? And why is it impossible to escape from here alive? Kim Jong-un is a traitor to escape from North Korea without permission. At the very least, he is sentenced to life imprisonment and death. Even in North Korea, it is considered a crime to go from a province to another province without permission. Almost every organization believes that the world's worst human rights record is with North Korea. Here, all men have to serve in the North Korean military for at least 10 years. There is nothing like free speech here, and whatever the media is, it is under the control of the state. This is the only country in the world where he is also punished, whose relatives are also punished. In 2009, a 2-year-old child was also sentenced to life imprisonment just because his parents didn't have a Bible book. Because in North Korea, following a religion is also considered a crime. It is also very difficult for a foreigner to come here from the outside world. And if a foreigner gets permission to come here when during his entire trip, he is looked at like a shadow. And he is only taken to places where he gets to see only what the government wants to show. Many times, foreigners are also killed if they do anything against the local law in North Korea. As happened with Otto Warmbier. He was a US citizen who visited North Korea in 2015. In 2016, he was arrested when he was accused of being a criminal. He was told that he has removed the propaganda poster of the government from his hotel room. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison for this accusation. But after a year, he went into a coma in a prison camp in North Korea. And he was sent back to America. After a few days of returning to America, he was able to walk without the heat of the wounds that were on his brain. What was treated with him in North Korea, no one knows what was treated with him in North Korea. As a result of all this, it is believed that North Korea is a very big prison, where people spend their lives as slaves even though they are free. This is the reason why North Korean people try every possible way to escape from here. But doing so is not easy at all. And the biggest reason for this is the geography of North Korea. In the west of North Korea, there is the Yellow Sea. And in the east, there is the Sea of Japan, where the North Korean Navy has such a strict guard that it is not even possible to come close to any illegal boat. In the south of this, there is South Korea, which is one of the biggest enemies of North Korea. Because of this, the guard in the sea near it is very strict. Those who run from North Korea have a better option than South Korea. Not because South Korea is a very developed and free country. Rather, the reason for this is that South Korea considers all North Koreans to be its own citizens. That is, if someone escapes the North Korean army and succeeds in crossing this line, then this step can change his life. But only when he is successful in reaching life. Because North Korea has spent so much time on its border that not only humans, but even birds will think 100 times before crossing the border. This video is from 2017, when a North Korean soldier was quickly taking his jeep to South Korea. When the border guard found out, he chased him and opened fire on him. He left his jeep and ran towards the border, but North Korean soldiers fired on him many times. Fortunately, he was able to escape. He entered South Korea, but after taking many bullets on his body. After that, South Korean soldiers came in the evening and dragged him into their protection. Such attempts have also been made by North Korean civilians, most of whom were killed on the spot. But those who succeeded in coming to South Korea could not stay alive for long due to the wounds of the bullets. Running directly from North Korea to South Korea is like inviting death. Because on this border, North Korea has deployed about 750,000 soldiers. Apart from this, barbed wires, fences and landmines have also been installed near the border. The second and historical way to enter South Korea is to run from the northern border. The largest border in North Korea is China, and a small part of it is Russia. This method is comparatively easy, but not less than the difficulties. Because North Korea does not expect an attack from China and Russia, their military deployment on these borders is also low. But this whole 1,300 kilometers border is full of dangerous mountains and forests. Apart from this, the border of North Korea with China mostly runs along the Tumen and Yalu rivers, That is, even if a defector reaches the China border, he will have to face the challenge of crossing the river. For this, defectors and smugglers waited for winters when both rivers would freeze, and they would simply walk over it and cross the border. Similarly, this method was also used in harsh summers, when the level of the river is very low. The danger for defectors did not go away when China or Russia reached, because North Korea had a military alliance with China and Russia, which means that if they caught a defector from their own land, they would directly hand him over to North Korea. And then it is not difficult to guess the North Korean who used to smuggle with them. Therefore, when China and Russia reached, their work didn't end. Rather, they had to run away from here and go to some other safe country. Myanmar and Laos are in the south of China. But these two countries also caught the North Korean defectors from their own territory and sent them back to North Korea. Therefore, now the options were Thailand, Vietnam, and Mongolia, whose direct border is with China. This was considered to be a safe country for defectors. Because as you know, South Korea also considers all North Koreans its own citizens. Therefore, these three countries sent North Korean defectors back to South Korea. So the defectors' plan was to enter China or Russia first, then Thailand, Vietnam, or Mongolia. And then, when they reached there, they had to surrender themselves voluntarily to the authorities. And from there, they were sent to South Korea by plane, where they could start their new life. Since 1990, a total of 34,000 North Koreans have managed to escape and reach South Korea. Actually, in that era, North Korea had the support of the Soviet Union. But in 1991, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, this support of North Korea was over, and America also started to impose a lot of sanctions on it. At this point, the situation of North Korea got so bad that the people of North Korea started to crave for food. According to estimates, during this time, 35,000 people died because of not getting basic necessities. That's why many people decided to flee from here after 1991. Every passing year, the number of people fleeing from North Korea kept increasing. And in 2009, record defectors were noticed, whose number had reached 3,000. In 2010 and 2011, the number of defectors was still high. But then, in the beginning of 2012, something happened, due to which the number of defectors suddenly decreased by 50%. The person who had ruled North Korea since 1994 was gone. And now, it was the turn of his son, Kim Jong-un, to take over the throne. As soon as he came to power, Kim Jong-un started to harass the first smugglers and those fleeing from the country. Signal jammers were installed on the entire northern border, and intelligence monitoring was also greatly increased. Fence was set up on the border, and military patrolling was also increased. Apart from this, Kim Jong-un also decided the situation with Russia and China that they should also be more strict on their side. As a result, China also set up a surveillance system on the entire border. Because of these changes, it was now very difficult for North Korean defectors to go to China. And now, the brokers who are helping these defectors to flee from North Korea used to take money in exchange for help. They have also increased their rates to a great extent. In 2007, the Chinese brokers who did this work in $2,000 after being strict in 2017, they started taking $15,000 from each defector. Most North Koreans, whose annual income is equivalent to $2,000, now do not have to collect so much money for them to flee from North Korea. This is the reason that since 2012, that is, after Kim Jong-un came into power, the number of defectors has decreased every year. And in 2019, only 1,000 defectors were able to escape from here. But then, in 2020, something happened, which has now made it almost impossible to flee from North Korea. At the end of 2019, when the first COVID-19 case was made in China, after 2 months, North Korea was the first country in the world, which completely closed all its borders, because they did not want any case of COVID-19 to reach North Korea. In North Korea, any medium of entry and exit was completely restricted. This was also necessary for North Korea because even today, 42% of the population here cannot eat properly. That is, their body does not have the strength to tolerate the COVID-19 virus. Along with this, in August 2020, the North Korean military ordered the Northern Border Patrol to shoot to kill. That is, they were given full authority, that if they see anyone going or coming to the China border, then at that time, they should shoot him. This is why, for the past 3 years, the number of people fleeing from here is almost non-existent. And North Korea has become a very big prison, where people can neither follow any religion nor can they stay in contact with the outside world in any way. Google, Facebook, YouTube, far from it. Here, the internet is also used only in government offices. And on it too, only those websites open, which the North Korean government has created. They have phones, but those phones are locally assembled in which such software has been installed, which monitors people's phone activity. North Korea is the only country in the world where the outside world has no knowledge of anything that happens. Here, executions are not hung, but firing squads are sent, who are in front of everyone who kill people with bullets. In North Korea, he is also executed, who tried to talk to a relative of his in South Korea on the phone. The world is watching all this drama, but no one can do anything, because the Soviet Union had transferred nuclear technology to North Korea. This is why even a superpower like America, apart from imposing sanctions on North Korea, cannot do anything else. Hopefully, you will also like and share this video. Goodbye.